Okay. So we are talking about a script feature in the UI policy. Okay. Now we have removed the recently added UI action. So this is a dummy action now. I want to execute script rather than like, executing actions here. Okay. What I will do is I will go to the script and then enable this run script. So this will tell me what should I do if the script is passed, if the script is passed the condition. So I should execute this condition. If the script is, I mean, if the when to condition is fail, then I should be using false condition. As I said, like sometimes you may not want to make it reverse if false, and then or maybe at this time of reverse if false, let's assume you have 10 fields. Out of 8 fields only should be executed in the reverse if false. Only all the 10 fields should be worked in in the initial condition passed scenario. But if you have attached all the 10 fields here, so there is no way to control. So in this case, let us say I want to do this like, okay, if the condition is passed, if the condition is passed, then I want to make both the fields are hidden. Okay. In this case, as I explained in the beginning, anytime you want to do some scripting on the server side, or sorry, client side, you will use this G underscore form. You use this G underscore form, yeah, predefined set of APIs to achieve your client requirement. Okay. Now my requirement is what I want to achieve is I want to make a field is hidden. Okay. So to do that, let's type G underscore form and click dot. So this will give me a set of predefined APIs. Okay, so these are all individual methods within that particular API. What I want to do, I want to make a field is invisible in this condition. Okay, now to do that, there is a field visibility set display. Okay, I want to make the field visibility display is false. Okay, here in this case, to achieve this one, what should be do? G underscore form set display the field and the parameters that I will be passing here. What field I want to hide? I want to hide this particular field. Copy this field. Okay. Copy always we will go by names, not by labels. Okay. Not by labels. We should be going by database names. Now here, select that field. And what do you want to make sure? This field should be invisible, right? Let's say false. And then close. Similarly, I also want to make another field is visible false. What is that other field? Under service offering. Okay, copy that service offering name. Close. Okay. Now come down to your this one. Select it. I said if the condition is true, let's do this. Okay. Save this and test it. Okay. Now go to this incident, reload it. Okay, you can see those fields are gone. Again, if I'm saying another value, this will not be working. Reason is I have not added anything in the false condition. Okay, in this case, my situation is, for example, whenever if it is a false, if they change it to false, I will make sure only one field is visible. Okay, I will say this is visible true. Reverse, right? So true. I'm saying only one field is visible. True. Save and reload it. Save, reload. Now, if the category is inquiry, you can see that field has gone. And if there is a hardware, then only one field have come back. I have complete control on the script. But again, this script functionality should be used only if it is really necessary. Okay, it should be used only if the necessary. Otherwise, we should be using as ServiceNow recommended the policy action. If that is cannot be achieved, only then you will come down to the script feature to achieve your requirement. So the script is not so complex. It is fairly simple. So what you have used, the client side client system API, and then within that, like you have used the set display. And similarly, if you want to make a field is mandatory, you can do say that, okay, this field is visible, and at the same time you want to make this field is, okay, set mandate. Okay, I want to make this field is mandatory. So you can use set mandatory to make sure that field is visible and also mandatory. So you can have complete control on your requirement. So using this script, if you want to do that, okay. So, but as ServiceNow recommended, we should be always going by low code, no code platform. That is policy action. Only if that is cannot be achieved, then only you should come down to this place. I'm saying hardware. Now you can see the field is visible. At the same time, it become mandate. Okay. So that is the advantage of a script feature within the UI policy. But as I said, it is not recommended. You should be using only if it is really necessary. Any questions on this? Evan, any questions?
No, clear.
Rani?
No, sir. Once I practice, I'll get back to you, sir, on this.
Okay, good. So, Barav, any questions?
Yeah, so so how can we decide whether we need to use this script and so the other functionalities? So
As I said, if you are not able to achieve your requirement with the configurable options, okay, if the condition you cannot manage it with for some reasons, okay, or if the condition is so complex for you to add it here, then you will use the scripting feature. Okay, otherwise we should be going with the configurable options. I gave you one simple example. Now, for example, let us say in this scenario, if I have added both the fields in the UI action, okay, in the UI action, when there is a reverse if false, I cannot control one field. But here in the script, I can control one field. I give you one simple example. Okay. If I have added both the fields in the UI, in the policy action, when it is a reverse if false, both the fields will be visible or both the fields will be invisible. I cannot control one by one. Correct?
yeah,
But
correct.
here, like you can do whatever you want. But again, like if this is your requirement, then you do that. But if it is not the requirement, then you should go with this policy actions.
Yeah, sure, understood. Thank you.
Reason is let's see, I have created this particular field. For example, if I have written this particular, same behavior in the script functionality, I can do that. But there is no way for me to make sure like I'm not conflicting with other features. Okay. If you are using low code, no code platform, yes, there is an opportunity. That is the system is saying, hey guys, this particular field is being used in other UI policy also. Please go and check that policy, making sure you are not conflicting with other policy behavior. Okay. As I said, the policy, a field can be mandatory at various scenarios, right? And field can be optional at various scenarios. Which scenario it should be active, which scenario it should not be active. Is these policies are conflicting one to other? So that is where like you will be able to decide if you are following no code, low code platform components. But if you are using script, there is no way to do that. You will have to manually dig into it. Okay.
Okay, Shikhar, thank you.
All right. So if this topic is clear, okay, if the UI policy is clear, like, and I want to go with data policies. Okay. Now let me just hide this particular feature and save it. Okay. Now my customer said, okay, whenever state is changing into in progress, okay, my assignment group should be mandatory and then assigned to should be mandatory. This is my customer requirement. Okay. Now let's say this is a new. Okay, this is new status. Okay, I'm changing it to new. Reload. I have disabled that policy to avoid confusions. Okay, I'm making it to new. I'm saving it. Okay. Now the UAE policies do work only if the data is managed on the form view. They will not be working on other views. Okay. Now what I'm talking about other views, the data in the service now can be updated various ways. Okay. The data can be in the service now can be updated various ways. Now I know this is the incident number. Okay. Now this is my incident number. I can update this incident from API. I can update the incident like, through the imports at action. We learned about it through the system data import also we can do that. Okay. And then I can also update this data from the list view also. Okay. Now go to the data policy, sorry, incident. Okay. Open incidents. And what is this incident number? 1003. Search for this 1003 and then change the status to in progress. You will be able to bypass this. You are changing it to in progress. Now come down here. This has been in progress, but there is no control. You are able to update the status to in progress. Okay. Even if there is no value attached to your assignment group. Okay. And now earlier the customer requirement is this one. Okay. Whenever the incident state is in progress, we need to make sure assign to is mandatory. Okay. Now we treat it at a form level. Okay. Now we treated this one as a form level. But now after implementing this particular requirement, okay, the customer has said, okay, they have come up with a new requirement. Okay. For this particular requirement, whatever you have done is absolutely fine. Okay, because we always need to make sure, like, what is the client requirement? What are the loopholes? So according to that only you will have to do this. Okay, fine. To this level, it is okay. And now, but the customer is saying, hey guys, yeah, initially this requirement is okay. But now the guys are updating the status from various sources. They are using this list editor. And then also you have, you can update this value back to, let me change it to in progress. Okay, so new. Now this is your incident ID, right? Okay, now copy this SysID and go to in ServiceNow. You can quickly build a API, REST API Explorer, go to REST API Explorer and go to this particular REST API Explorer. Quickly make a API call. Okay, on which table I want to make an update. I want to make an update on incident table. So what I want to do, I want to put. Okay, I want to modify this. Okay, which table? Incident table. I'll explain you during the integration scenarios detail, but for now I'm just testing it. On the incident table, I want to make a call. So this is my incident ID and this is the SysID of that incident. What is that value I want to change? I want to change state to in progress. I want to change the state to in progress. For because ServiceNow always deal with values in the background, right? So what is that value for in progress? It probably 2. But anyway, let me just check for the state. The choice value could be 2, but I want to check. This is the 2. Okay, sorry. Show progress. This is for a different table. For incident table, yeah, status is 2. Okay, go to this one and 2, set the 2, send the request. I have updated. Let's see now I have, it is saying 200 means okay. It is updated and successfully that particular incident. Okay, 1003 has been successfully updated is what system is saying. Now come down to this one. Yeah, it is already showing the realistic value. Open up. Okay, 2. Okay, but you see the values are still not popped up. Okay, make it for another test. I changed it to the new and go to your REST API Explorer. Send the data once again. I sent it. It is updated. Go to the table. See, this has been updated from the backend. And then there is other way to do that. Okay, what is that? Data load. Okay, this is the incident number, right? Incident number. Now go to, I prepare a small Excel sheet. For a data load. incident number and status. This is my incident number and the status is 2. Okay, I'm passing on. The status is equal to 2. Okay, now save it. 2 incident load. Okay, I'm just saving it. Now data load. Go to system import and load the data. Okay, now for the first time I'm loading the incident data, so I will create test incident or load incident. You can give any name. Load incident data. Okay, now file is in your local machine. The latest file incident load. There are only 2 columns. What the system does is it will be quickly creating that particular import set table, and then for the first time I need to map the data. Load incident. Load incident, and then my target table is incident data. So fine, I'll quickly map and then I'll set the coalesce as a number. Mapping assistant. Number 2, number, where is my number? It is number, right? Incident number. Yeah, incident number. 2 number field. And state status. I provided it. What is that? Status. Yeah, status. In here, state. Okay, I have said I have field mapped. Now I'm just creating a scenario why we need to use the next feature. Okay, now this feature is done, and then what I want to make sure incident number is a coalesce one. I want to update the data based on this field. So done. Now go to that incident record. Go to that incident record before we test it. Open and open this incident one and change it back to new. Save. Okay. Now going to the load and transforming the data. Okay. Now I am loading. So currently the status is in progress, and transform the data and see what's happening. Now transformed. Okay, go to this incident, the status is changed. So you are able to update the data from various ways. Okay, but your policy is only working on the client side, only on the form load. But on the back end, on this, through the server side, you are using the API, you are updating the data from the back end. You are using an import set feature that is also working on the back end. Through the server side, you are modifying it. Also, you are modifying from the list view. So there are multiple loopholes, wherein you currently haven't talked about. Okay, customer said from any means you should not be modifying this particular value like this. So what now your particular feature that you built so far is not going to work. What you have built, you have used the system UI policies, right? UI policies. Okay, you have used your UI policy, and then this is the UI policy which we worked. Okay, that will make the assign to is mandatory. Okay, if the state is equal to in progress, you are able to do this one. Now To avoid this feature, okay, to avoid this situation, ServiceNow has a new feature called data policy. Okay, ServiceNow has a new feature called data policy. Okay, so how do you create data policy? Same, it also will be available under system policies. You have a data policy. Okay, go to data policy and then do the same thing, same set of steps, create a new data policy. Okay, where do you want to restrict it? On the incident, table. Okay, save this option. First give the name, and then second you have to provide the condition, make it state is in progress. Second step is completed, and third step is what I want to achieve. I want to make assignment group and then assign to or mandatory. Assignment group. Assignment group is mandatory. True. And then assign to is mandatory. Okay, now I made this policy. Okay, now check this. Okay, go to your incident system to test it, because you made, like, a server side component, a data policy. Okay, now go and test it. Okay, now you go and test it. Okay, now make it to in progress. I have disabled, remember, I have disabled UI policy. UI policy will not work anymore. Okay, now test it. Okay, make a change to in progress. See, this is saying mandatory. Okay, now I'm not going to modify. Reload it. I have not modified, just to ensure it is in the new in progress. Okay, state is equal to new. Go to list editor. Okay, go to list editor, and this is the record. Refresh it. It is in the new status, and try to modify to in progress and save it. Saying that data policy exception, your server system is not allowing. Now go to your REST Explorer. Okay, and send the data. Once again, failed, forbidden. Okay, see, you can see you are not able to execute this through the API also. It is saying data policy exception. You are not able to modify it. Okay, there is an error. Okay, which is not allowing you to do this. Okay, now use your data import. Okay, we have used the other feature, right? Go to the system import. Load the data. Load the data and go to the existing table. What is the table name that we created just now? Load incident. Your file is located on your local machine. Added. Submit. And we have the available transformation method we just created. We can use it and transform. So transformation is completed. Go to the transformation history. See, completed with errors. Okay, what is that error? If you want to detail that error, you can open up. Okay, you can open up this particular this import set. So completed, there are no data updates happen. Go to this one and then check out this error, particular record. It is saying completed with error. Data policy exception. You can see there is a data policy exception. That is why the data has not been updated. Failed. So now you understood the difference between UI policy and the data policy, right? UI policies will work on client side. data policies do work on both client side and then server side. Okay, you can make a data policy acting as a UI policy. You can see this option. Okay, so when you added this option, the data policies not only work on the client side, not only work on the server side, they'll also work on the client side. That is number one. And with the UI policies, the difference is you can make field mandatory, visible, invisible, and read only. But whereas in the data policy, what you can achieve is you can make field is mandatory and read only, because visibility doesn't matter because it is working on the server side. Somebody who is making an API call, somebody who is doing the transformation, they have nothing to do with the visibility, right? So that is why data policies do not talk about visibility pattern, but they talk about mandatory and making a field read only, right? So these are the advantages of data policy. Data policies ideally works on the server side, and they will have a full control not only on the form side, but on the server side. They will restrict if you want, and they can maintain any restriction depends on the data inflow. Okay. Tomorrow, maybe your customer says, okay, let's leave data import. If the data is coming from the import, let's modify. You can ignore it. Okay. Remove the API calls to have full control. You can remove it. You have full flexibility. Where do you want to restrict and where do not want to restrict? So the data policies have the full control. Reason we are working on the server side. Now you need to use these features wisely. Which requirement should be applied? So it all depends on the client requirement. If the client is saying only I need this function to be worked only on the client side, then we will go with the UI policy. No, the client is recommending to have complete restriction that should be working both. If the data is coming from the import or API call or a list editor, then we should be using data policy. Okay. With that, now you understood the difference between UI policy and data policy, right?
Yes, I understood, Srikanth. So one small question here.
Yeah, please.
Um, so you were able to modify it some the different ways, right? So as you are administrator for this account, so you were able to do that. So what level of access that common people can do these modifications at
Okay,
levels?
so the ITIL users or the technical agents or the end users, remember, they would not be using these features. Okay, I'm bringing these features to give you a overview more from the technical standpoint. Okay, the end users, they will not be using this REST API Explorer to do that. REST API Explorer is an administrative component, but what happens is in real time, you will be giving this API to your third-party tools. For example, let us say you have a e-bonding integration. Okay, your ServiceNow is integrated. Okay, your ServiceNow system is integrated with some other tool, probably BMC Remedy. Okay, so in that case, what you do, you will be using this API to update the data into ServiceNow. Okay, as I said, the end users will not be doing it from this place, but the end user may have access to your Remedy tool, right? If they have updated, if you as a technical guy, you have created a bridge between these two tools, what the service, what the end user do, so the end user can update the ticket in the Remedy tool. If they have done that, they will internally you will be using this API to update your ServiceNow ticket. Your customer says it could be any system, they should not be able to update it. Okay, so I'm talking about the various ways. These are the different methods. So this is number one. I'm talking more from the end user point of view. Now, the end users are nothing to do with the data loads. This is a administrative activity, right? Data loads and data updates. So bulk updates, this all happens by the end users. No, sorry, administrators. This is an administrative activity. The customer said even administrators should not be able to do this. This is a policy that I'm trying to have. Even the administrators also should not be making a changes to it. So that is the full control what customer wanted to have on it. So in that case, you will restrict even for the data load. So what happens in sometimes, okay, even in Remedy or any other tools, so the customers do not have access to update it. But from the backend, you can use data import to upload the data, right? So
Yeah.
the customers do not want to even give a room for them also to do. So then you will create a data policy. Only thing, if you want to bypass this one, you need to switch off this technical component, make it inactive, then you need to do. But any platform changes, anything, any change that you are trying to make to this platform, it should be executed through the change management process. Okay. Any modification, it could be a field change, or it could be a policy change, or it could be client script change, any change that you are applying, because this impact the system behavior. So it should be executed through the change process. Okay. So in that case, let us say some customer came up and say, hey guys, some reason, my incident is not allowing me to progress. So can you do it from the back end? So what you do, you will be doing it if I leave a room here. But if I don't leave a room, you have to make a change. But if you caught in your audit, then you will be fine, because it's a behavior need to be executed through the change. To then, it's a policy violation, correct? So I'm talking this more from the learning standpoint, but in reality, the scenarios could be different. Does it answer your question?
Yeah, correct.
Or else I will bring in more examples to explain this.
No.
Okay.
Thanks.
Great, thank you. Hemant, any questions on this?
No, I'm clear.
Rani?
No, sir, it's clear.
Okay, so can you, okay, if you have already the system opened up, can you do this quick exercise? So with this one, because we talked about scripting components, right? So, the next one in our topic is a client script, and then ACLs, and then the other things. If we do rush, then, it leads to confusion. So my recommendation is just you have practiced it right away. Okay. And then if you have any questions, so I will clarify with that, we will conclude the session.